All right, students. So today what we're going to do is go really quick through chapter 9, which is all about Western expansion. All right. So your first question asks you, what were the two dominant political parties in the 1840s? And the answer to this question is the Democrats and the Whigs. Okay. So over time, the political parties that were dominant in the United States changed. Okay, so by the 1840s, the two parties are the Democrats and Whigs. Make sure you have those written in. Okay, so our next question asks you about which president was known as the president of expansion in the 1840s. And the president's name that you're going to write in there is James K. Polk. James K. Polk ran for president in 1844. He promised to only serve one term as president, and basically he was a little bit more detailed, but he said that his goal as president was to expand the United States from the middle of the country all the way to the Pacific Ocean. All right. All right, so your next question deals with the concept of manifest destiny. And this is like a huge topic in U.S. History 1. So throughout U.S. history, our country grew and grew and grew and got bigger in size. So manifest destiny was the belief that it was America's destiny to extend all the way to the Pacific Ocean. So if you were a Democrat in the 1840s, you were a believer in manifest destiny, and you thought that it was our plan, it was our mission, it was our destiny to go all the way to the Pacific Ocean. And that's what we did in the 1840s. All right. So the next question asks you about the three ways that the United States expanded in the 1840s. All right. So the three ways you're going to put, we added Texas. All right. We added this territory called Oregon, and we added California and the surrounding areas. Okay. So on your final exam, you will be responsible for identifying the three ways that America expanded in the 1840s. Most likely, if I ask you this question in multiple choice format, you will probably have to choose which area was not added. All right. So make sure you know Texas, Oregon, California, and you'll probably be looking for some other option that was not added. Let's keep moving. All right, you have to know a little bit about the Oregon country. So I have a map right here. All right, so in the early 1800s, this area was referred to as Oregon. This today is modern day Canada, and this is today, modern day Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. So for the purposes of your final, you need to know that originally in the early 1800s, this Oregon territory, it was jointly occupied between the United States and Britain. We shared it. And then in 1846, what we did was we split it in half. We drew a line right here. The United States took the bottom half. Britain took the top half. And that was kind of the resolution. But previous to that, it was jointly occupied between the United States and Britain. Let's keep rolling. Okay, you have to know a little bit about Utah and who migrated there. So in the 1840s, there was this group of Christians called the Mormons, and they had traveled around quite a bit, and everywhere where they were moving, they were being discriminated against. They had some unique beliefs. They believed that men could have more than one wife, and as a result, the Mormons took wagons from Illinois across the Great Plains, and they immigrated to Utah, where they set up the city, Salt Lake City. So make sure you know that the Mormons migrated to Utah via wagon. Okay, so wagon travel was very popular during the 1830s and 1840s. People took wagons to Oregon. People took wagons to California. People took, wagons to Utah. But as we entered into the 1850s and 1860s, Americans stopped taking wagons across the country because of this thing, the railroad. So once railroad tracks start being built and once railroad technology gets to a certain level, it didn't make much sense to take a wagon across the United States. All right, our next question is about Texas history, and it's about a battle called the Battle of the Alamo. And this is a picture of the Alamo in San Antonio. The war that was being fought at the time was called the Texas Revolution. And make sure you know that the Texas Revolution was Texas versus Mexico. And on your final exam, you're going to have to explain why the Alamo is significant. Like, why is it significant in Texas history? Well, Mexico won, but Texans celebrated the battle because Texans fought to the end, and the battle became a rallying cry or inspiration for the Texas Army. So this element is going to be what's on your final exam. The Texans fought to the end, they lost, but the battle provided inspiration for them to continue fighting. All right. All right, your next question is going to ask you about the Mexican War. So the United States fought a war against Mexico from 1846 to 1848, and the United States won. So the question is going to be about, what did we win? What did the United States win in the Mexican War? So the territory that we won is called the Mexican Cession. And basically, the land included California and the American Southwest. So if you look at this map here, we won California, the United States won Nevada, the United States won Utah, the United States won a large chunk of Arizona, a little piece of New Mexico, and a little piece of Colorado. So as long as you kind of know that we won California and the surrounding areas, you'll be good for this question. All right, the last segment here for Chapter 9 is about the California Gold Rush. Know this term, 49er. So a 49er was a gold seeker who went to California looking to get rich. And the reason why they called these people, like this guy here with his pickaxe and his shovel, the reason why they called them 49ers is because the gold rush and the rush to California occurs during 1849. All right. A couple more things about the gold rush. How many of these gold rush miners were actually successful? That will be a question. So you need to know that most gold miners did not strike it rich. Only about 1% of the men and people who went out to San Francisco actually found enough gold where it was life-changing, it was a fortune. Most of the men who went out there either found no gold or found such little gold that, they still struggled to live. And then lastly here, who profited the most from the gold rush? Make sure you know that it was business owners. Any business that provided services to miners did very well financially. So what kind of businesses are we talking about? We're talking about restaurants, saloons, bars, hotels, restaurants, laundry, equipment shops. So make sure you know that business owners who sold supplies or any kind of materials to miners, they were the ones who really struck it rich during the gold rush. Okay, everybody, that's Chapter 9. That'll do it for the day. All right, we'll see you tomorrow with Chapter 10.